Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterlands universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode, another fantastic guest for you guys coming in for this one on the week of the Thanksgiving holiday. Hence this episode dropping a couple of days early. You guys can give it a little bit of a listen while you're traveling around. Be safe during your travels and enjoy the Turkey Day, the holiday, for wherever you are celebrating, whether you're eating turkey or not. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. But yeah, quick shout out to the guys over at Aqualis. We had Crypto Eater on last week and gave a pretty cool vision of where that company is headed and what they're trying to accomplish over there. So go check them out if you haven't yet. Without further ado, we've got somebody, love him or hate him. He's one of the most polarizing guys in all of Splinterlands. He's been a fantastic supporter and advocate for what we're doing here at TPG, and we're proud to welcome him back on. He's been making the rounds of late. I think he's logged more hours on content creator shows the last couple of weeks than he has than I can remember. Yeah, we've got Azircon coming back to the show. Welcome back, Azircon. It's good to see you, man.
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah, hey man, thanks again for joining us. Yeah, you have been kind of getting out there recently. What's been the impetus behind that? What's the big push to kind of get out, be a little more public facing, kind of tell your side outside of the Discord messages in Maverick's house that we more typically know you from?
Yeah, no, it's actually just two different visits. So I did a show with Matt Clark and the Australian guys, Boba Fett. And then I also did one with Aftersound. So it's really just two. So, but anything that I do, people tend to magnify it many-fold. So that's the Azircon effect right there. So if I do two, it seems like I have done 20. So that's the way it goes. So now you know. So it's really just two. And if you were saying it feels like I am doing my round, which is absolutely correct. But that's the background. So it's auto amplification. So you were saying my voice is a little bit soft. So that's actually probably good because I shout a lot. So.
well, I think it's an appropriate adage for you, Azircon. Speak softly and carry a big stick. That's that seems like it fits right in your wheelhouse, man.
Yes, that's absolutely right. So there you go. That's a good start right there. I did two shows in video, and it feels like that. I'm out there projecting myself. So that's very good.
Well, we appreciate you making this the pit stop for round number 3. For anybody who's felt like they've had too much Azircon, here's a little bit more for you. We've got a good conversation in store for you guys. So Azircon, why don't you tell us a little bit about? Let's kind of zoom out. It's Thanksgiving. This time of year we kind of I'm a few years removed of the traditional Thanksgiving customs and celebrating with family and feeling grateful for all these things and sharing what I'm thankful for. So as you kind of reflect on the last year, let's try and humanize Azircon a little bit more for the listeners out there. What are you thankful for, kind of as a retrospective, man, from 2020, 2023?
Yeah, good question and good thought. Thank you. Thank you for that thought first. You know, I am always thankful for the community. You know, that is the first thing I'm going to say. Outside my family, and my wife will attest to it. I spend way too much time here, right? It's a fact. Um, and uh, and the reason I spend this much time, because I care, right? I mean, otherwise there is no reason for me to be spending this much time on Splinterland. And the reason I care, and I said that last time as well, is because I think we have the right vision going, like the big scale vision that we have in the game, that we want to make people financially free. That's the main goal, and have fun doing it. And there is still enough positive thing that I hear every day in the community that helps me to log on the next day. It's as simple as that. So for me, I have never felt for a single day that I am here spending time in Discord or spending playing the game, that I'm wasting my time. And it's as simple as that.
Well, I feel like your response may have gone a little bit differently had the Cricket World Cup had a little bit of a different result the other day. You kind of very quickly just dodge that conversation there, Azircon.
No, it's last few. So I have ESPN Plus that I purchased just for the Cricket World Cup. For here that in the US, the regular ESPN do not show cricket, right?
Mhm.
So I have to purchase this ESPN Plus, which is an add-on, $9 or $10 for a month. So I had that, and I've been watching most of India's game, waking up at 2:30 a.m., which is the time the day-night game starts. So to make a long story really short, it was a wonderful campaign by the Indian cricket team, and they won 10 games in a row and then lost on the final to Australia. And it's unfortunate. They were clearly the favorite, but they did not play well that particular day. So I am disappointed, but I am glad that I watched the entire campaign, and it's a campaign I will remember for a long time. It's a all the way to final. They won every single game, so which is quite special.
Yeah. So did you just grow up loving cricket? Have you loved it your whole life? Has it been a big part of your family and your childhood? Because dedication to get up at 2:30 in the morning and watch cricket matches. Which, how long do they go for? They're hours long, right? Or
yeah, I say 1 day match, so it's like about 8 hours, 9 hours. So 9 hours straight. So yeah, and then there is a little bit of pre-game and a little bit of post-game. So think about 10 hours. So regarding the cricket, yeah, I grew up playing cricket, and cricket is it's more complicated on the rule book and how the game is played than baseball. And baseball, if you understand baseball, like the statistical part of it, it can be very intense, right? There's a lot of statistics, a lot of things that go in the back end in baseball. So multiply it by like a order of magnitude or two order of magnitude, and you got cricket. So and I grew up playing it. I played all the way through college. So I stopped playing because of injuries. I am full of cricket injuries, all over me. So yes, so that's the short answer.
how do you think? I've always wondered, how do you think like an American baseball player would do if he switched to cricket? It seems like you're probably familiar with both. Is it something that you think they could pick up quickly, or is it just that different with the spin on the ball and the distance and things like that?
It's like a pitcher would probably have an easier time than a batter. Like baseball batting, is essentially just one shot, like it's a cross-barrel shot, right? Because everything you hit with a cross-bar. So cricket is not like that. You have the entire range of motion. Like, mostly you play with a vertical bat. There are horizontal bat shots, but mostly you play with a vertical bat. So there is a lot of nuances associated with that. Now, bowler, like the pitcher in cricket is called bowler. They will also have a little bit of hard time because they throw the ball, right? So the elbow is bent. In cricket, if you bend your elbow, that's a no ball. That's an illegal delivery. So, that will not work. So you have to keep your arms straight. So they will have a hard time to adjust as well. But I think in terms of nuances, if you just think about speed and accuracy, they will probably have a little bit of better time than the batsman. The batsman will really struggle because a lot of it is inside your mind. And, if you are strategizing as you are batting, which is not in baseball.
Well, I grew up a baseball guy, and I thought I lived in New Zealand throughout the beginnings of COVID, and my housemate was a diehard cricket guy, so it was all replays of big international matches and that sort of stuff. And I tried picking it up, and man, you hit the nail on the head. It's all nuance. There's so much nuance to the game of cricket. And right when I thought I was starting to get a grasp of what was happening and like trying to pick out, what the next move was, something entirely new was thrown my way, and I was just as lost, even more lost than I was before. But yes, it's definitely an interesting game, and I think it's got to be one of the top viewed sporting events, right up there with the Soccer World Cup, just based on sheer population and in the Indian subcontinent.
It's just India. It's Indian subcontinent, all the population, and the how much it is loved and adored in India. It's just that's 1.4 billion population that essentially trumps everything, right? So it's it's skewed. It is highly skewed.
Have you found yourself kind of obviously growing up in India, there was cricket all around you participated as an athlete. Have you found yourself, since you've been living in the States, kind of, I don't know, filling the gaps, so to speak, with baseball? Have you found yourself growing closer to the game, or do you feel like baseball's that dumb sport by orders of magnitude compared to my beloved cricket?
Right. So again, when I moved to US, I started in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is very football country, and we talked about it last time, right? So baseball is not really a thing in Oklahoma, as we were students. Now, I picked it up a little bit. Like, I never played, but I at least start to understand the rule of the game, because that is most similar to cricket. Never really piqued my interest early on. Now, after I moved to Houston and started working, it changed a little bit, because we have the Astros, and early on, Astros is the rise of the Astros in the last few years is very different, right? It's the classic story of an underdog, right? It's an underdog story, and keep going better and better, and then they won, right? So at that time, I watched quite a few games, right, and got more interested in watching. But honestly, even with cricket, I don't really find enough time to watch games, right? So even the World Cup, which happens every 4 years, and I was just talking to my wife and thinking about, okay, how many World Cups cricket World Cups I watched lately. So I watched most of it in 2023, but 19 and the 15, I barely watched. Like, I watched 1 or 2 games. Last complete World Cup I watched in 2011, which is the World Cup India won. So even cricket, I barely watch. So it's just, now it's very difficult to find time.
Is that because you're dedicating too much of your time to Splinterlands?
Yes, well, that's the most of the free time goes there. Yes, that's the bad part, right? There is only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to know. So you said last time we didn't ask you enough hard questions. I want to know, like, what are the hard questions to ask, right? Like, I think we kind of got a better sense of your personality. And I
Well, I
just feel like,
have taken the easy escape there. I like it. Nice move in.
I mean,
speaking of nuance.
I mean, look, like people, I get that you come off as very brash on Discord, but talking to you, it doesn't seem like you're a mean spirited person, right? It seems like you're a very direct person. And
Yes.
is it just that it just comes off weird in when you're just typing, maybe it comes off differently? I mean, is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth and throw you softballs here even more, but that's just like, I just wanted to address it because to me that's just how it seems. I don't know. So why do people not like you, Azircon? What do you think?
No, it's like you said in the beginning. It's polarizing, right? So I will keep it quite plain. So the thought is, I come off as abrasive, right? That's the easiest way to put it, on Discord, and that is quite intentional. I want to come off like that. So, and the reason is quite simple, right? This is one game we are talking about where there is money involved, right? So whenever there is money involved and there is people from all over the world, and there would always be incentives of people that are not aligned toward the main fundamental principles of the game, and not aligned towards the community goal. Like when you put in 100 people, 1,000 people, they will all have their personal incentives, right? And all these personal incentives are slightly different. And they may or may not be aligning with the game's incentive or the community incentive. And that is totally fine. The problem arises where, one incentive is detrimental to the growth of the community, right? So I have no problem people making money. That is the whole reason of us being here, right? We want to change people's financial life. We want to make them financially free. However, we do not want to do it in such a way that you are getting a financial benefit. I am getting a financial benefit at the expense of you have. But that keeps on happening. And whenever I see that happening, somebody got to come in, step in and try and normalize it. And that's what I do. And whenever that happens, especially if you're behind the keyboard, the other side, not me, the other person who's behind the keyboard get very defensive. And when they get very defensive, they try to blame not the system. They don't try to blame themselves, obviously, but they try to point finger at someone they can point finger at. And usually it's the person who's saying, no, you cannot do that, right? So let's say, I'll give you a very simple example. There is a way that somebody figured out that you can earn 1,000 more SPS per day by doing something, but by doing some kind of a backdoor system of exploitation, right? A simple exploitation. You have invented a special bot that will win more games than the bot that you have currently, right? And you earn 1,000 SPS in the process per day. So if somebody points that out, so you have invented that process and you are earning 1,000 SPS additional per day, but if someone finds out and points that, your immediate thing would be to be defensive, one. Second, you are going to point finger at that person. Why did you do that? I was doing something. It was allowed within the rule of the game. So I am doing it. Why are you stopping me? Right? So that's the thought process behind it.
Well, Azircon, you've mentioned it a couple of times, and I think you said it as far back as on our first episode a few months back. Whether or not Splinterlands goes belly up, your financial situation is going to be unaffected. That said, you're heavily invested in the game. You have a very substantial stake. I think you're easily top 5, top 10, if I'm not mistaken, on SPS. You've got a region plus countless cards and a couple of vault accounts. Despite all of that, how do you continue to, you've also, alongside of all of these assets, you've got a keen sense of what is the greater good? What is the best for the community? How do we align and steer this ship towards, the fundamental values of what Aggie and Matt set out to accomplish when they founded Steam Monsters? All of that said, and taken into account, how do you keep objectivity? Like, how do you not let emotions and a reaction dictate your decisions?
Right. So that's a good point. And you are in the law, so you practice law, if I remember correctly. So that kind of comes with my background a little bit. So as you know very well, I'm a geologist, right? I'm a geologist and I find oil and gas. So and I am doing that for all my past my graduation. So it's essentially my entire working career. And as you know, oil and gas business is not a popular business, right? So it is globally not a popular business. So, and a lot of the time, especially where I am these days, I bump into energy policy on a daily basis. And not only energy policy of the United States, internationally, energy policy of many different countries. And it is, to tell you the truth, it's extremely dirty politics, right? It is intertwined with dirty politics as it can be. This is the dirtiest you can get. But at the same time, a lot of people don't realize it, that within the energy industry, there is a lot of people who are employed who actually want the greater good, who also has kids, who do not want to have their kids breathe in an environment that is not suitable for them, right? And they also, these people, and that is the majority of them, these people, not only they want greater good, but they actually are scientists. So they are environmental scientists. So I'm a geologist. So by definition, I'm an environmental scientist. I understand the planet. I know how the planet works and how the planet worked for the last billion years. So I am in a position to understand the health of the planet and what policies should be implemented to essentially regulate the health of the planet. But a lot of the people outside, they don't realize that. They think it's we are a profit-making organization, which we are. We are a profit-making organization, so I'm not going to lie. But we do it in an unsustainable way. So I feel this. So this backlash thing, getting back to Splinterlands, so this backlash thing that you talk about, I am very familiar with it. And I do it. That's my day job oftentimes. Like, I go to different countries, talk to energy ministers, their cabinet, to talk about energy policy, essentially do country entries and things like that. So, I deal with this on a daily basis. And of course, the environmental lobby, right? I deal with them on a daily basis. So that kind of gives me the background to detach myself from the personal attack. So if, people can do personal attack to me, but, I have a very thick skin. So, I understand that, that personal attack is probably one coming from frustration. Two, even it is malice, that person won't be able to do anything to me. It's just a computer game, and there is a person sitting on the other side of a keyboard. So I'm in not any kind of danger. So I don't feel threatened. So that's why I get up the next morning and I do what I do. So that's that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I want to ask about, you say you want to do, when you see someone who's doing something that, is against the community's interest, that's when you really want to speak out against that or against those actions. But, those people are in the community too. Maybe their opinion is that, what I'm doing is in the community's best interest. Or like you said, like what I'm doing is just following, what's in the game. And if everybody can do it, everybody can make more money, or everybody will be on the same playing field. So like what gives you that kind of confidence to say, well, no, I know what's best for everybody, and we got to do it my way.
10 million staked SPS. That's what.
Apart from the 8 million,
so we'll get to the stake, but let me answer Hep, in a very objective way, right? So you said something that is very important, and I want to build up from that. You said if it is within the rules of the game, I can do it, right? That's exactly what you say. And if somebody comes in and says, okay, I am doing it, I am doing this exploit, but this exploit is within the rule of the game, so it is not an exploit. So what gives you the right to stop me doing what I am doing? That's the premise of that. And there is a right and wrong answer. For a lot of these things, there is no right or wrong answer. For what you just brought up, there is a right or wrong answer. Just because there is no rules in place in the game or anything, gives you the authority or gives you the ability to exploit something, right? For example, I will give you a simple example. In Texas, and I have to be sensitive on this because I have kids in the house, and and this is kind of a very sensitive topic, but I'm going to broach it anyway. It's the gun policy, right? We just passed Halloween. It is within the law of Texas, if somebody is inside your premise, and if you can feel you are threatened in any meaningful way, you can shoot that person. It is not a crime, right? That is the Texas law. Okay. So in Halloween, if there is a kid that comes into my premises and I don't like that kid, and that kid could be a 17-year-old, that could be a 14-year-old, and 14-year-old can be a very large kid, these days and any day. And I shoot that kid and I feel pretty good about it and saying, oh, I have not broken the law. Did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? It is, I have not done anything that is against the law. And you are in the law here. You tell me, as a human being, is that the right thing I have done? And if somebody comes in and say, it is the law, but you did that something that is not right, and you cannot do that, I would be that person coming in and saying, it is within the law, but the laws can be changed, one, and second, you did not do the right thing as a human being.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that to push back, yeah, I mean, the law is there for people who actually are experiencing danger and have a reasonable expectation of danger and being threatened. So, I think in that example, the argument would be that, well, the kid's in a Halloween costume. He clearly wasn't threatening you. He's just trick-or-treating. You should have known better. And you actually did violate the law. And even if you say you didn't, you still did. And so, I think there's a little bit of difference there where it's, you know what I mean? It comes down to, it's very different when we're looking at stuff that is, on a computer and is a game. And there's that saying that the code is the law, right? Like what's in the code, what's available in the code is what the law is. And there's not these sort of things about feelings that come into play as much as, in the real world and in the real world and in human interactions, because what we're doing is we're interacting with a game and with code, and, so there is sort of a difference there.
And let me take it back to Splinterland, because this is a topic that I am reading a lot on this, and this topics of ethics, essentially. So this is ethics. You just essentially explained ethics to me, and and your thought was, and again, that's an extremely good point, and I want to build up from that it is a game. So if somebody doing something within the laws of the game, within the rules of the game, even if that hurts someone else, there is no person involved. There is no personal feelings involved, right? So it should not be something serious. And, for the game makers of Splinterland, Aggie and Matt, when they launched the game back in the days, this was their thought process. And you know what happened? What happened is essentially this proliferation of automation, because they were very kind of libertarian, right? They said, okay, if it is decentralized, it's all allowed in the game, so we are not going to regulate and force people. However, that can be exploited, and that can be detrimental to the economy of the game, which it has, right? Essentially, you cannot, as a human player, you cannot compete against 100,000 botnets. There is no way you can. So if the reward pool is constant, the bot is always going to take a larger share of the reward pool without any particular effort compared to you as a player. You, one person playing the game, you should have your fair share of the reward pool. But if everyone else on the other side is bot, they are going to take all the revenue, all the reward pool. And it is still going to be within the laws of the game. So what will happen? After a little bit of time, you will stop playing, because you would say, okay, why I am playing this? This is nothing new. I was playing it for a financial benefit, and I do not have that benefit anymore. Bots have all the benefits. So I am not going to play the game. So if everybody leaves this way, then all that is left is bots, and essentially you have destroyed the entire economy, right? So that's where the ethics comes in. And in the present day, it's a very interesting conversation. The advent of AI everywhere, right? OpenAI is in the news almost every day these days. Every day, right? And there is a lot of discussion about, okay, if you have a large language model in a chatbot, how ethical it is. So, for example, can I ask a chatbot how to make a bomb or how to make a biological weapon and essentially get away with it? The short answer is no, you cannot, because they are putting in these ethical parameters within the large language model. And also, same thing goes with the images. Let's not talk about biological weapon. That's too deep a thinking. But think about just, AI-generated images, right? So there is, in Microsoft Bing, I was recently experimenting with DALL-E 3, which you can access from Microsoft Bing these days. And, you can generate, using a prompt, you can generate beautiful images, right? So there is a copyright aspects of it, but also there is a safety aspect of it, right? So for example, using an image like I like spaghetti western and Clint Eastwood. So I actually typed in Clint Eastwood as Dirty Harry in DALL-E 3 in OpenAI. And you know what I got? I got a content warning, and I did not get any image. So you can understand Clint Eastwood is a brand name, right? I cannot use Clint Eastwood image and do something on the prompt. Okay, so that's a content violation. So DALL-E 3 will not do that. And that is the ethics model at the back end. So I am not doing anything illegal if you just think about it. I just want, bald Clint Eastwood without the hat. But I would be violating the content policy of that movie and, essentially the Hollywood IP in particular. So Microsoft, think about it, it's not just the OpenAI protecting itself from the ethical, parameters and lawsuit. It is Microsoft who is protecting itself. Because if somebody wants to sue, they're going to sue Microsoft. And and Microsoft, since it's a very large company, it is protecting its brand name and its exposure, because everybody will come after Microsoft because they have the money. They have the best lawyers, but they also have the money. So it is going to be a lot of legal fees, even if they win this battle. If there is a lawsuit and they win the battle, it'll still there is going to be legal cost associated with it. So they are just protecting their back from this ethical violation.
Well, ethics is a really tough one. It's a world of gray, right? But you kept hitting a word and that word is exploit. And by definition, exploit is essentially leveraging an unfair advantage, which can be objectively identified in, through a black and white lens. So I think, despite wading through a world of gray that is ethics, you can land on a black and white answer that is, are you leveraging an exploit, yes or no, without being muddled in the gray. And therefore, I think this kind of leads to a good natural segue back to, staked SPS. We can, as the community, as shareholders in the DAO, introduce proposals from the backbone of ethics, and therefore, nip these things in the bud by the objective call of, was it an exploit? Yes or no? Okay, let's proceed with, a DAO proposal solution to rectify that.
Which we have done in recently in many cases. But as you know, since a proposal system is a political process, it's slow. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. So the banning of bot in modern is a perfect example of that, right? We all know that it was a right thing to do because there was an exploit and we stopped the exploit. So it's black and white. However, there would always be an argument against it. And there is every day I see this argument. Okay, you have killed it, and now you have killed the liquidity, because see the number of battles in modern versus number of battles in wild. So you have killed the liquidity. If you do the same thing in wild, you are going to kill the liquidity there. And whoever the card holders using the bot, basically they are going to leave. So the game will be left with 500 manual players, and you have essentially killed the game. So this is the argument against it, right? And this argument has certain elements to it. But again, this argument is also an exploit. The reason people who are doing it, who has most likely one, can have some fundamental benefits to it, maybe using their own account as a bot, maybe had a botnet in the past, or maybe they're just thinking just from the liquidity point of view. However, the counter argument to that is the liquidity can be provided without a profit as a non-profit bot from Splinterland itself, or by another entity who can provide non-profit bot, and DAO can pay for it. So there can be the liquidity question, the battle liquidity question, can be answered very easily if the community is willing to provide the effort or money associated with the effort for it. So it doesn't have to be we are going to leave the wild as is just because of the liquidity and just because we are afraid that we are going to lose the people, because the people who are going to be gone for that, I would say they are a dead weight at this point. They are just an exploit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just liquidity, I think, right? It's also, people talk about, value of cards, value of the rental market, return on investment that way, which is, we've seen that every time we've seen something that kind of against bots, we've seen card values plummet, we've seen the rental market go down. And, I think those are legitimate concerns, right? Because there's, people who, maybe not necessarily one of them, but there are a lot of people we talk to on the show, and they maybe don't like the game. They like the asset management thing, and they like to manage their cards and manage the rental markets and, manage different alt accounts for things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that I think we have seen those arguments be valid, right? Because we've seen sort of exactly that happen. We've seen the value of cards go down significantly. We've seen the rental market go, pretty low at this point. So yeah, I mean, is it the thing you feel like we can, that there should be no bots? Like so you're feeling that there's, having them in wild is not enough. You want to get rid of them completely, but you say people are dead weight, but I mean, can we afford to lose another 20% of the player base at this point? Can we afford to lose any more of the player base and not have the game typically just putter out? I don't know. I think that is a tougher question than just that.
It is a tough question. It is a tough question, and I'll give you my answer to that. Notice, so I always distinguish facts from opinion, because I think as a scientist, as a responsible person, you always need to do that in present world. You got to distinguish fact from opinion. The fact is the wild system, the wild league is alive right now, today. Clearly, I see some value in that system. That's why I did not forward a proposal. I could have forwarded a proposal myself to stop botting in wild today, but I have not done that, right? Although I don't like it, but I have not done that for the reasons that you have mentioned, right? There is a liquidity concern. There is a rental market concern. There is a value of the asset concern. And yes, if we stop bought in wild today by some magic, let's assume we can do that today. The value of the rental market, the value of the cards, all the things that you have seen will plummet, will definitely plummet. Okay, so there is no argument on that, and I acknowledge that. I appreciate that. That is my reason that I haven't pushed a proposal. Actually, if you actually read some of the Discord messages lately, Clay and several others, they were trying to bring forward a proposal banning bot in wild prior to the land release. And I have said, I stepped up, both Dave McCoy and I, we both stepped up and said that we are not going to support it right now. Right now, before the land and the rebellion is released, we are not going to support it. And I am against bot, but that's what I said, that I am not going to support banning bots in wild right now. I want to see the launch of land. I want to see the launching of rebellion. I want to see how that absorbs some of the oversupply of CL cards and what is the impact on the rental market and the card value market, one. Two, how the rebellion launch goes and how it changes the game dynamics. There are some tools associated with the rebellion set that is going to, benefit modern play. At least that is the hope. I mean, we do not know the details. Nobody knows the details, but at least that is the goal. So I want to see both of them in action before I get into the bought in the wild scenario.
Yeah, I think you read my mind there, Azircon. The entire time that this discussion has been happening, the only thing that I could think of is, land is, and we talked with Crypto Eater a ton about it last week. He is of the very staunch believer crowd that land is going to be the great equalizer and kind of a reset on what does the card market actually look like. For all intents and purposes, we might see a lot of these bots, their card collections just disappear onto land, and all of a sudden wild is, I don't suspect it'll ever reach the numbers that we're seeing in modern at the moment, but we could see a big chunk of battles just fall off the face of the earth because of land. Is that the thought process that you and Dave had when you were discussing whether or not a wild bot ban is worthwhile pursuing at this point? Or
yes, something like that. But again, Crypto Eater is much younger than me, and he likes to predict. At his age, I used to predict a lot, and I used to be wrong a lot. So I don't predict. That is one thing I do not do. So I have no idea what will happen post land with the wild league. But these are potential alternatives. I do not know whether this will happen or not, because a bot farm in wild, I don't know how many of them actually have land. Do you have that information? I mean, does Crypto Eater have that information? Nobody has that information. And since at least in 1.5, there is not going to be land surfing. If you don't own land, you cannot put cards on land. It's as simple as that. So, and also there is additional complication associated with it. So bot farms, especially bot farms, they go for ROI. That is the only thing they're going for, right? They are doing it for the return. So wherever the best return is, they're going to go in that direction. But in order to go and get a return from land, you need to be owning land. You need to be buying land. There is no rental right now, at least not officially. So I do not know how much of a percentage will go there. So individuals who are running bots, they will, if the incentives are high on land, they will. But I don't know about the farms.
I guess we'll know shortly.
You don't like to make predictions, but I see you keep saying that you think only about 10 to 15% of land will actually be utilized to the start.
I still say that, and that is just based on facts. I know how much cards I have, how many cards I have, right? And I know how much DC I have, and I know how my lands, how many plots I have. I can do a simple math. I have right now, I think in my account right now I have little under 4 million DC. Well, I can scrape things together. I can maybe bump it to 5. So 5 million DC, if I put max card on 5 plots, right? So that's 50,000 DC each. And that is just the card. It's not to, power up your power core. So that's only 100 plots. And I'm out of my DC. It's as simple as that. So for 100 plots, 100 times 5 is 500. I honestly do not have 500 max cards. I actually have 184 max reward cards. If I scramble my other non-playable cards, I maybe can get to 400-ish. Right? I need 500 max card, and I can max get to 400-ish. The last 100 I will be, less than max card. So that's just my number, right? And I can talk to Dave, and I know Dave's number. I can talk to Crypto Eater. I know his numbers. His number is going to be much higher. I can talk to Vaktis. I know his numbers. He's going to be higher too. But then, there are 8 full region I know that is owned by Ali, like Blockchain FF, and they do not have any card or DEC, and they're not planning to put cards on land. Okay,
Oh, wow.
so they're just going to sit there. They're just going to sit there 0%. So if you average everything out, the large landholders are, I have a plot. I can maybe look it up, but I think it's about 100 accounts with more than 100 plots, and then below that it just tapers off real quick. So, and this 100 accounts, the 100 and below, I think those people will have fairly high utilization, but let's say 500 and above will have extremely low utilization. So I don't know where exactly that number is going to land, whether it is 10%, whether it is 15%. I do not know, but that's just my personal guess. And I'll still stick to that point. That's just based on what I have. It's not a prediction.
Oh boy. Well, it'll be interesting to watch how it all pans out. And to your point, Azircon, I'm looking at the rich list right now, and there's exactly 51 accounts with at least 1,000 plots
Yes.
on their accounts. I'm comparing this with the rich list and of DEC, and there's a handful of names that kind of match up. Cryptomancer being one of the most notable, 50 million ish DEC, and 3,000 plus plots.
So I think it will be exactly 3 people who can field their land more than 10-15%. Exactly 3 people within those 50. I'm saying 1,000 and above. 1,000 and above, there are exactly 3 people who can field their land. One is Crypto Eater, one is Vaktis, and the other is Aggie. And that's it. Everyone else are underfunded and has less cards than they have plots. It's as simple as that.
What about Matt Clark? Like, I think he's pretty gearing up for land for a while.
Yeah, but Matt has a region. Matt do not have 50 million DC.
Mm. Well, I mean, if you add Vugtis, Cryptomancer, that's 7,500 plots right there.
Yes.
That's a good chunk.
That is a good chunk. And Crypto Eater also do not have all, and Vaktis do not have all. So they cannot put all max cards in all their region. They do not have that many cards, and they do not have that much DC.
Crypto Eater said last week that he was looking really just to do his occupied and legendaries and maybe some rares and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that was what he was looking to do, like the first couple of days at least. He said so. I mean, that might only be like 10% of his land as well.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying, and he is one of the most funded person. He has the most cards, or nearly the most cards, if I consider all his alts and other things, and probably access to most DC. Whether he has it at this point or not, that doesn't matter, but he definitely had access to it. And so does Vaktis, and so does Aggie. These are the 3 people. They have access to the cards and land. Matt Clark has a lot of single BCX cards. So single BCX card won't do it, right? Single BCX card, you can put it, but it is not going to be full utilization, not even nearly full utilization. And you have to ask yourself the question, because if you put single BCX card, it will still cost you. It will cost you grain, and it will cost you stake DC. You still have to stake DC, not 50,000. You're going to stake some amount. And then when you harvest, since it is single BCX card, it is going to cost you to harvest. It is going to cost you grains to harvest. So you have to calculate, are you net positive? If you are not net positive, you are not going to do it, right? So it is, if you are not net positive, the best option is to do nothing. And so that's what they will do. So they will field some of the max card, some base plots, like for example, me, you mentioned Praetoria and occupied land. So I have 49 occupied plots. I'm going to field all of them, right? I'm going to use them all. And so I have enough time crystals for that. I have enough DEC for that. So the 49 occupied land plots that I have, I'm going to use them all because they're going to mine SPS, right? So I am of the same opinion as Praetoria. And I am going to put the rest of them. So I said about 100. I have enough for about 100. So that's 49. So that remains like 51. So rest of them, I would just basically farm grain because I need the grain to power up those occupied. So most of them I'm going to farm grain, and maybe one or two just for fun. I am going to do the Secrets of Praetoria, the research. So just for fun. That's my plan.
Well, Azircon, let's take a second to understand and achieve some clarity around that 10 to 15% forecast. We'll call it not prediction, forecast.
Forecast is also prediction.
I was looking for a synonym that is more surefire. I'm at a loss, but so that number is that your call for full utilization? You expect 10 to 15% with max cards, or is this across the board?
So, again, that's why the net positive thing comes in, right? The max cards only comes in because, you got to make it net positive, right? So I was doing something, and this is where, it'll take some time to get you to the screen. But let's say I put single BCX CL cards. I have unopened CL flags, right? So I can potentially put single BCX CL cards on all my land. I can do that. But to do that, I would still need DEC. I still need to stake DEC on them, and I have to power up my power core. I have building in the blocks for all of them. So I have power core for all of them, but that still requires DEC. And if I put single BCX card, that generation is so small, the grain generation for them, even if I use time crystal. So, okay, again, first I have to think about, do I want to use time crystal if I put single BCX plots on them or not, right? Because time crystal costs money. I have some time crystals saved up, but if I use all my time crystals on all my 49 occupied plots, I'm going to be more than half finished. Then I'm going to put some time crystal on my grain plots, right? The time crystal I have received during the pre-purchase, right? I have 77,000 time crystals. So, the remainder of the time crystal will go to the grain plot to generate grain. And then I'm out of time crystal, right? So if I put single BCX CL cards in plots and do not put any time crystal on it, it will take, for one plot, I did the calculation, for one plot, it will take 2 years to clear. 2 years.
Just in time for land 2.0 is what I hear you saying.
So again, this I am going to send you. So I'm going to look in the Discord because I just put it on Math Chat this morning. So actually, I am going to search for it. So I'm going to search from. Keep talking about something else. I'm just trying to get an image out.
All right.
So this is
Ben, fill some time. Yeah, Ben, how much of your land are you going to be able to work now at this point? Now that we're maybe getting closer.
I think I'm 100% ready to go. I mean, I'm nowhere.
Everything.
Max cards and everything. I've got one gold foil legendary, a handful of max betas.
Nice.
It's been a while since I've gone shopping, but yeah, my spreadsheet does tell me net positive. We'll see if my calculations were correct, but
I gotta break out that
it's
spreadsheet again.
yeah, it's a positive by a pretty slim margin. So I don't have much of much room for error there.
For error.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean, I'm holding half the land plus that you are, man.
yeah, I think I'm gonna be maybe half, maybe a little more than half. I debating whether I was gonna do more Rift Watcher packs. Not Rift Watcher packs, sorry, Rebellion packs, or whether I was gonna hold it for my land. And I think I ultimately decided to hold it for the land. I was gonna get like another 150, 200 Rebellion pre-sale packs, but I decided to not at the last second. Like, right, I had moved everything around. I was like about to hit submit, and I was like, I don't know. And I just kind of held off, and then it passed. So yeah, so we'll see. All right, what do we got, Azircon?
All right. So do you see my screen?
No. Are you sharing screen?
No, I am sharing screen. So I did hit share. Oh, I have to click on share. Now, how about now?
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Yep, we see it.
All right. All right. So, and we will explain, since this is a podcast, we'll verbally explain what this is. So this is 5 cards that I have staked in the Mavs-SL server, right? Which is the test facility that now everybody have access to. So if you want to go there and have access to it, you have the access to it, okay? So see, these are some random basic cards. So this is a plot. I think it's forest. So it is green and life, like the earth and life that gets a boost. So I have chosen earth and life. And see, some of these are multi-BCX. Some of this is, like I said, that's a single BCX card. That's a multi-BCX card. That's a but these are like, tiny cards. They are not all single BCX, right? So I have put in, and I have kept this empty because by then I'm going to be out of title, and by then I'm going to be out of all my totems. So this is for totems. This is for title. This is your power core. This thing is your power core all the way to the left, right? So essentially, if I do all of that, and I do not, so I hope you can see the screen pretty big. So at the top is the production cost, and then this is the hourly production rate.
Woo, 2 years.
Yes, that's the kicker. So if I use that card set, and if I do not use time crystal, it will take me 2 years, 2 months, 7 days, and 1 hour to just clear the plot before I do any kind of grain production. So now tell me, do I want to do that? Or do anybody want to do that?
No, just to let people know, I think the production cost to clear it was at like 9.9 million, and then your production, the cards you had out as production per hour was 516 per hour. So yeah, that's yeah.
So that's my point. See, a lot of people don't understand that. They're not getting it, right? So if I just put single BCX CL card or single BCX any card, and I do not use time crystal, it will take me two years. So that is clearly not possible, or clearly you do not want to do that now. You can buy time crystal. So in other words, like again, I can share that screen again. Sorry, I shouldn't have stopped sharing. Go back here, share again, and I hope you can see it again.
Yep.
So, all right. So I can use 990 time crystals to clear this, right? So how much is 990 time crystal worth? So that's the next question. Okay. So right now, if we don't know anything, time crystal, each time crystal is what? Like 15 DC or 1500 DC? I forget, whatever the number is. We can look it up from the white paper. But you have to buy it. So then after you have bought it, then you have to find out if your daily production rate is that much, and your your workers, these basic workers that you have put in, they will still eat grains. These workers, they will eat grains. And then you have to put like 10 or 15%, whatever that percentage is, to the local castle and keep. So if you subtract all of that, then you have to figure out, are you still net positive? Because for this particular plot, this is the build rate. So 518 per hour, and you got to go to 9 million, right? This is the build rate for that particular plot. So if you consider all of that, are you net positive? That's really the question. And then if you are not going to do it.
Yeah, because even if you're only, squeaking out a little bit of grain,
is it what
is the investment? Is it, the investment in the cards and the DC and all that stuff worth it to, maybe get, 5-10 grand a day?
Other thing people don't realize, okay, so this thing, you got to do one click at a time to select one card. So if you have 100 plots, just to select cards, you have to do it 500 clicks, just to select the card. To get to the production, you have to go through 3 pages. So you are doing those clicks 3 times. So it's 30 clicks times 100, 3,000 clicks. Okay, just for 100 plots.
You're going to give some people some carpal tunnel here.
Honestly, I think this is a spreadsheet for all practical purposes. I am actually pretty disappointed with the page design and the amount of clicks it requires. I think they completely, it could be 2 things. They did it on purpose to make it slow on purpose, and that's possible. There could be a reason for it. They wanted to make this, let's say at 5:00 p.m. that want Praetoria to field all his land plots at 5 or 10. Maybe you do not want that, right? So maybe that's one reason. But if they have done it, which I don't think they were thinking like that, I do not think that's the case. The page design is so cumbersome. Anybody with any kind of meaningful land, like 100 land, is going to have an extremely hard time and a lot of cutscenes, to put cards on land. I think they were just thinking most people have 10, which, in a way, it's not incorrect. Most people probably does have 10, which is true. And the rest of the population above 10, they are just there, right? That's fine. So they are going to be extremely slow. So to put cards on 100 plots, I think it is going to take hours. It is going to take 10 hours.
Well, Azircon, it's mostly you OGs who have been landholders for years. And maybe the thought process was we want to give a process that will allow these OGs to savor the wait.
Yes. Well, and basically make us slow and give us carpal tunnel, and then we cannot just feel, because I think the grain and research, it doesn't have a reward pool, right? It's just however much grain you produce, right? So that's another thing, the price of the grain. That's what Praetoria is saying the previous week to you guys. The price of the grain is ridiculous in GameStop, right? So it's same price as DEC, which makes no sense because it is essentially infinite. So, the price is going to plummet. As soon as you create a market, the price is going to plummet. But the SPS is not that. So SPS has a fixed reward pool. So fewer people doing occupied land and putting SPS mine on, the fewer it is, the better it is for the people who have actually done it, right? Because they are saying, if there is only 10 people turned on the SPS mine, their reward is going to be astronomical. If there is 100 people turned on the SPS mine, the reward is going to be lesser. It's going to be still very high, and so on and so forth.
Well, we're about a week away. Real quickly, and I want to shift gears with you, Azircon, but if we do achieve that 10-15%, is that where does that lie in your book? Is that a success? Is that a good number? Is that pacing us on the right path?
So, my thought process is that initial number, whether it's 10% or 15%, matters, right? But that's not everything. If you have created land for a card sink and a lot of future values because you are going to generate item and spells and other stuff, which you cannot generate any other way. That's out in the future. So this is a VC project we are investing in, and a lot of the outcome is way out in the future. That's the way I see it. So whether it is 10% or 15% or 20%, whatever that number is in the beginning, that will have some impact, but that is not a lasting impact. This is a long game. And the whole land thing is a long game. And people have to find value in it. And company, the corporation, needs to provide value to the stakeholder and average community.
Let's shift gears to Rebellion. We just watched the sunset on the presale. I woke up to messages from Aggie making an appearance in Mav Chat, hyping it up and calling, 30 minutes left, less than 10,000 packs. How surprised were you guys that we got so close to selling out presale? And what, now that we've got it a few days in the rear view, how are you guys feeling about Rebellion in general?
Okay, so I'm going to do screen share again. I do not know if you guys know what happened that day. I don't know if any of you were online.
I wasn't able to be online, but yeah, I want to know how you ended up 7th instead of top 6.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of deliberate thing. Most thing I do is quite deliberate. So, look, I wanted to support this. This is revenue, right? This is direct revenue to the corporation, right? That's why they did it. And part of the revenue is also our revenue. It is going to the DAO, which is owned by the community. So I wanted to support the pre-sale. And I have 3 players. So I needed 3 max there. And usually for we do not know the numbers exactly, but usually for a full set, you typically need 3,300 packs, 3,300 to 3,500 packs for a full max day, regular max day. So for that, if you have 3,500 for a max day times I have 3 players times 3, so that's nearly 10,000. So I needed approximately 10,000 packs. But the benefit, the rewards are like in 2,000. So if you get 2,000 packs, you get 300 more. So you get 2,300 packs. So 11,500 is what I got. So it's 2,300 times 5. That's the magic number. I wasn't trying to. If you read the chat and anybody who knows me, if you ask them, I was not trying to get into the leaderboard. I was just buying the packs that I needed, and I ended up there. I have no desire to design a summoner.
No, I mean, once you realize you're that close, though, did you ever think about it?
I wasn't really realizing I was that close. So, it was all happening in the end. It was all happening pretty fast. I did want to wait till the very end to do that. Like my last 3 buys were all the way at the end. And that is simply reason being because I don't hoard DC, right? I earn DC. I earn some DC and I earn some high daily. So I will tell you this from a DeFi perspective. So I earn about 150 high per day from curation. So let me see if I can get to my. So this just opening up PigD here, and this is my wallet, and this is all public information. There is nothing secret about it. So notice I am just opening up my Hive wallet in PigD, for those who cannot see my screen. And see, right now I have 242 Hive, but there is an interesting thing you can do on PigD. So you can click on incoming on the filters and see that basically shows you the incoming Hive every day that I generate. So it's basically 14 hours ago, 20 hours ago, a day ago. So it's up to there. So see, 35 plus 35, that's 70. So 70 or so Hive I get from these two curation programs, and then my own personal curation. And you can do that by looking at it out of the way. And there is a dashboard in PigD. I don't know if you guys ever used that or not. There is a dashboard that you can go to. Services. Where is the dashboard though? I'll find it and I'll share it with you. But it's approximately little more than 100. So it varies a little bit, 120, 150 hives per day. So which is what I get every day from Hive. So if I wait, that gives me more Hive, right? Which I can sell for DC or SPS, whatever. In this case, it is DC. So the longer I wait, more DC I generate. I buy DC from the market. I don't hold it. So that was my reason.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, I'm a little surprised that you weren't watching that finish line, Azircon, finishing number 7 and watching the 6 folks ahead of you.
No, I was watching. I was on the chat with Aggie, and that was a beautiful event. There were like 60, 70 people there on Discord during the final sale going on, like that. And we were all talking, and I actually wrote a post about it. Hardpoint was there. He coded like a leaderboard on the fly. So if you go to my PigD, my Hive profile, the last post, you will see there is a link to that.
Yeah, I saw that. That's where you've got the Clint Eastwood likeness image. Yes. I did see the post. Yeah,
it was 2 hours plus long, and we were talking in Discord, right? And people are like bantering. So it was a Friday, I think. I had nothing to do. I had no work. So I was doing, I was writing that post, and I was doing DALL-E 3 and, messing around with AI and all that. So, that post is an outcome of that. So I was there the entire time. But, I don't want to design a summoner. You guys are, I hope you are getting it. I want others to have that privilege. I do not want it. I want to be just under. I want to spend as much money as I can. So where I am in that leaderboard, that's the place I belong. I just want to be just under. I do not want to be at the limelight. So that's a good thing.
Well, mission accomplished, man. Mission accomplished.
I already have too much limelight on me. There is spotlight on me all the time. So I am very cognizant of that fact. So all my online, whatever I do in this ecosystem, I am very cognizant on what I do, because since I talked about ethics and standards so much, I always have to have you understand this. Since I am such a torch bearer in this, I have to maintain the ethical standard myself. Otherwise, I have no credibility, right? So I am very cognizant of what I do and how I do it on this ecosystem, and I do not want any undue advantage. I am very, very clear on that. I do not want any special benefit.
Let's turn the spotlight back to the company. All of that said, we were hearing calls for massive success, hooray for Rebellion, and that was on day one when we saw the better part of 250,000 packs walk out the door in the first 24, 48 hours, and here we are a few weeks later, and we got damn near that 500,000 mark. I'd love to hear both of your thoughts on, did that surpass your wildest expectations? Did you kind of go into it expecting that Rebellion was going to sell out, or where do you guys, where does that register on the radar for you guys?
So let me flip this a little bit. Let me ask Hep first. Did you buy any Rebellion?
Yeah, I bought 100 packs, and I think I got the bonus pack, so 105 packs. As I was saying, I was thinking about buying more, and I kind of decided last minute not to kind of hold off and be able to put more resources to land.
Yes. Yeah. So that's how about you, BJ? Did you buy any?
I did not. No, I have every intention of cherry picking those promo cards off the market, but
yes.
No, I didn't make any Rebellion moves.
Okay, so just to expand on that, because both what you two did, that is a whole school of thought on this. I think what you did is a very deliberate move. You thought about it, and that is exactly what you wanted to do, and that's a very, very valuable thought process and a right thought process. And there is a right or wrong answer here. And it's not like gray. So far, post the big hype, post CL and beyond, let's put it that way. Every card sale, whatever, like if you bought in pre-sale or bought packs as a whole, you have lost money as of right now, right? Post CL. So if you bought CL in the pre-sale, you have lost money. If you bought packs in the open sale, you have lost money, right? So, and we are still in a bear market. So the common thought process would be, why would I want to buy a pre-sale? Because it is almost guaranteed to lose money on the value of the pack, right? So currently CL packs are less than $1. CL packs were sold at $4, right? So even considering all the discounts and all that. So, that's a value loss of what? Let's not get there. But, and then again, even if there is no value loss, like for example, I will give you an example. I did not buy any beta packs. I bought Untamed. But when I started, beta was just going into the sunset. The beta was launched. I was around. I did not buy any beta pack. I have 3 max beta deck, 3 max, every card max. I bought all of them from open market, right? So Untamed, I did buy packs, and for an extended period of time, all the prices are low, and my net part, I had a loss on the net purchase for a long time. That's during the J698, and then of course it rallied, and I do not have any Untamed pack left. I opened them all. I have the cards, and I think I am net positive on all the Untamed cards still. And I of course have played those cards for a number of years, for 3-4 years I played. So I have gathered value from that. So I'm definitely net positive on Untamed. I am definitely not net positive on CL, I have bought 21,000 plus CL packs throughout his life. 21,000 times 4-ish. That is what 20,000 times 4.
That's a lot of sold hive, man.
Yes, there is a lot of sold hive. So now, for the record, I have again on the Rebellion, I bought it the max discount 5 times, right? So that's 8 million DC times 5, that's $40,000 because DC at peg right now. And, I actually put in external money. I mean, I did not have enough DC. As I told you, I do not hold DC. So I was just using my PayPal to buy credit, and I used the credits to purchase. I did have the voucher because, I accumulate a lot of vouchers. But it's $8,000 times 5. That's $40,000. I just put $40,000 on Rebellion. Better be worth it. I know it is not going to be worth it. That's not the
point. Well, I hope you called it earlier that in your younger days you would make a lot of predictions and you would be wrong oftentimes. I hope this is one of those instances, Azircon.
Hey, if I am wrong, see, this is what I do these days. I position myself such a way, if I am wrong, I would make money. So believe me, I want to be wrong on this.
That's smart.
Well, what about you, Hep? What was your reaction kind of watching the final countdown on the pre-sale and seeing that number getting really close to that 500,000 mark?
Yeah, I thought it was great, just and yeah, like I just wanted to buy, some packs to kind of just to do it in solidarity with the community and show some support to the team. And I looking back, Rift Watchers sold its 500,000 packs in, like a couple minutes. So I knew we weren't going to do that. And then when we kind of did half of it the first day, I was like, well, that's really good. And maybe we'll sell, another 100,000 or something over the course of the month. So to see that, almost completely sold out. Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, we'll see. I guess time will tell.
One concern I have on this is quite simple. I think majority of the pack, the community is now very small, right? Whether you stick to my number of 500 or your number of 5,000, it doesn't matter to me. 500 to 5,000 people that is left in the community right now. And I think most of the purchases have already been made. So we can say that this pre-sale is successful. I think we can all agree on that. But that I don't care about that anymore, right? It's over. It's always point forward. What is going to happen come December 5 when we actually have the regular sale launch? Who is out there to buy it? That is the concern I have. There are two kinds, and then external people. Because this is a full edition, right? The reason we launch a full edition for the revenue, yes, but we want new players to come in and buy packs. That's the reason to have it. Now we have a burn mechanic associated with it. So whatever we don't sell, we are going to burn. When the actual sale starts, the question is how many packs will get sold. So it will be sold towards two groups of people. One group of people who wanted to buy or wants to buy single cards or individual BCX cards from the market, like BJ mentioned. And the other group would be, new players. So in make this purchase desirable, these cards need to be good. So when Matt designs this card, my thought is, he better design like some awesome, powerful card. Because if he doesn't, then there is not going to be any market for it. Because this card, remember, this edition has a negative connotation in land. So you will not want to stake this in land. That is not the purpose of this edition. So this edition is supposed to be for playing. So it better be really powerful group of cards that people desire. They really want to have it. Otherwise, we have failed miserably. That's my concern.
Well, hey, I'm going to push back on that, Azircon. We've heard Yaba come out and say that the Chaos Legion legendary summoners, for example, were underwhelming by his definition. And he wants to move. I don't know if we're ever going to see something as powerful as Kitty again, but he wants to move back closer to the level of power that was available through the Untamed legendary summoner. So that's number one. Number two is the fun factor that is being introduced to the game through the additional mechanics. As with every edition, we get new abilities and that sort of stuff, and new synergies are born. But the new second round of gameplay, or selecting your team, I should say. I think that in conjunction with the more powerful cards that we're going to see that Yaba has alluded to, I think that should tick the boxes for where your concern lies. Maybe I'm being kind of blindly optimistic here, but what is y'all's take on that?
No, you are absolutely right. That is the hope. I mean, Matt did mention that these cards are going to be powerful, and this card going to be Untamed level powerful. And I actually, not only that, I would take it one step further. My expectation is that we need a new Jakku, we need a new Kitty in this edition. I'm going to step it up even further, right? Because we had a Kitty long time. Kitty is now gone in the wild, so we need to have this new edition to have some major card that would rival Kitty, if not a bunch of others. So we need that. Otherwise, why would I want? Why would you want to buy a card from the market or buy new packs? That is exactly what Matt said. But Matt never said it's going to be better than the Kitty, or that's not the point. The point is this needs to be desirable, and that's the expectation.
Well, if Bulldog gets his way, it's not going to be Kitty that's running through matches. It's going to be a squirrel. So we're switching genus in the animal kingdom.
Nothing wrong with that. I am all for it. It doesn't matter what it looks like. I do not, the card art and the thoughts are great. I love it, but ultimately it's the stats that matters. Because sure. I am a game player. It's the stats that matter.
Yeah. Speaking of being a game player, Azircon, I feel like I've run into you quite a bit. There's been some pretty one-sided shit talk between us the last handful of times we've run into each other. Most recently, I think I ran into you earlier this week, and it was probably mid-afternoon my time, and I texted you right afterwards and asked you, like, isn't it past your bedtime? Not thinking that the international cricket competition was still going on.
Right. You got it 100% right. So, and I was watching, like, for the last 2 months, I have been watching cricket. Like 2:30, I wake up at little bit ahead of 2:30, like about 2 o'clock at night, and that's been my schedule. Last couple of months. It's very unhealthy, and so I am always, that time I'm half asleep and I just have the game on. I just,
Well, talk about insult to injury, Azircon. I'm half asleep. I'm just rolling out of bed. Shoot. All right. Well, tell us what else. What else is on your mind, man? Like, land at 10-15%. You're holding. Kind of sitting there with bated breath, whether or not Rebellion is what the game needs. You're obviously still bullish. You just put 40K of your own cash into the game. You just shared your wallet, and like you said, it's on public record. So I feel comfortable in saying that you've got well more than a million staked Hive. So you've got a pretty substantial pie on the Hive ecosystem and with Splinterlands. So despite, you know, the hesitation and the reluctance to call things a success and share optimism through 1.5 and beyond and Rebellion, you know, despite hitting almost the pre-sale full numbers, why do you continue to stay so bullish in all that's happening here?
Because of you, because of all the rest of you, right? It's the people that matters. It's the community that matters. It's people first, then money, right? Without people, there is no money. So it's, think about it, you know, oftentimes on all this, you know, salt and the other things, arguments, this basic fundamental principle that kind of gets overlooked. No matter what people say on Discord, I mean, it doesn't matter. There are still 500 people that wake up every day. They all have their life. They have other things they do, but they still find time to get into the chat and they engage and have a discussion. Whatever that is, that could be, oh, Azircon, you are like a piece of shit. That's, you know, you
said nobody ever, Azircon.
Right. So, but the thing is, I am taking all of that as a positive. If there are people who are direct, there are people who are passive aggressive, and all of that is all good, but they are still people. They are still getting into the chat and having a discussion. They're taking time off from their life to engage in the game. That got to be positive. There is no other way to look at it. And that's the reason for being bullish. It's as simple as that. Because people's cumulative resources can drive us forward, will drive us forward. That's my expectation.
Great. That's well said. I'm kind of curious, since we get you here, I want to know, what do you think is sort of the, you know, important next steps for the DAO to take in the next 3 to 6 months? Or do you have anything on your agenda you want to see the community doing with structuring the DAO or positioning itself to, you know, financially for moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. And I have a few thoughts. And one of the things I like a lot, I want to slow things down a little. And that has been my position for a long time. You know, what we are doing right now with the DAO is great. And DAO is going to get part of the revenue for the Rebellion sale. And that's a substantial amount of revenue. So we are well funded right now. So right now, what we have to see is how these two launches, the land and the Rebellion, how that impacts the game. And then with that behind us as a launching pad, we need to get out there, DAO need to get out there and monetize the game somehow. And, you know, we do not have a marketing team anymore, right? Cryptoeater the other day, you know, one of his big gripe is, oh, we are not marketing in the ETH chain. We are not marketing in the Polygon chain. We do not. We do not have a marketing team. And it's unfortunate. So, you know, the statement is correct and it's a fact. However, at one time we did have a marketing. We did market. And we did market it in other chains. In Wax, we did marketing in Wax. We did marketing in ETH. We tried to market at ETH. Rooney is an example of that. And it did not work. It did not work. We did not get a single person from OpenSea permanently in the game. Whoever little, you know, sale that we got from OpenSea who are not related to the game, they have sold and they've been, right? And then we are left to a Rooney, and, you know, I mentioned this to him this morning, and now we have this cost burden on us because every time we want to do something with a Rooney, we have to pay a gas fee. Now, the counter statement is that I would rather be paying gas fee and be in a $500 million chain versus pay no gas fee and stay in a chain that nobody knows. Good point. No, nothing wrong with that. That's a fair assessment. But unfortunately, that is not a battle we can win at this point. The people who designed the game, they are in the Hive ecosystem. That's where the game is going to be, for the next foreseeable future. And we just have to deal with it, because the game as a whole in the next 2-3 years is not moving to Polygon. It's not moving to Ethereum. And I am going to argue it is not going anywhere. It can have its own chain, which is in the works, right? It can have its own chain, but it is what it is. So the only way we can market this, we can benefit it, is by increasing the value of the token. And we know in the Web3 system, that's the way it works. Now, Cryptoid the other day said, oh, we do not know how to market in Web3. We tried to market it like we marketed in Web2. He has a DAO, and he explained to you how difficult it is to market for him. It's his company. He's trying to market it. But is he being very successful? He said so himself. No, it is not easy to market in Web3. Is there out there a major Web3 marketer? I mean, otherwise he would have hired that marketer, right? There isn't any. There isn't any. And there is a cost associated with everything. And, after a certain period of time, the way marketing works, marketing can be successful, marketing can be failure. Whether it is successful, you have to still pay. If it is a failure, you still have to pay. So that's the point. So from that perspective, since we do not have a lot of resources, I think our goal should be to prop up the price of the token. And that would benefit players directly. That would also help with marketing.
Yeah, we've heard that a number of times from some of the big guys, and somebody else's opinion that I really respect is Matt Clark, and he has a great way with words. I think I call that out every couple of episodes, but I hear the way that he kind of expresses and articulates very complex stuff and puts it in very simple to understand layman's terms. And the best marketing is green candles, and that's verbatim what he said. And I think from everything that you've just said, it sounds like you're in wholehearted agreement. And I think I being a minnow in a sea of whales, I'm going to do my part in voting for pursuit of a very similar path of let's bolster the DAO. Let's do what's necessary to boost the value of SPS, to keep DEC at peg, to get the assets up. I'd love to see validators go back up, and all these associated kind of tangent assets. There's a bunch of them now, and we've watched nothing but red for months and months and months at this point. Let's slowly start to turn things around, and it seems like it's starting with DEC and SPS. We'll see if we can keep up the steam.
Yeah, and the card prices will follow. If we can keep up the DEC near peg, we can keep up the SPS, rally it a little bit towards 2 cents and beyond. Not asking for much here, right? Just keep it steady, keep a steady slope up. We do not want a big, massive rally or anything. I think we're going to be good. The good news about a small community is, there is a lot of bad news, but the good news about a small community is that you can potentially have a large impact even with a smaller number of people, because you are so small. It's very easy, and it's priced too. Bitcoin is at 35,000 right now. How easy it is, you think, to make it 70,000? That's a 2x. That's a 2x on Bitcoin. And how easy it is for SPS to go from 1.8 cents to 3.6 cents. I think SPS 2x is much, much easier than 2x Bitcoin or 2x Ethereum.
Sure.
That's how small cap works. We are micro cap compared to BTC. We are micro cap.
Well, Azircon, I think that's the positivity that we've been waiting for this full episode, brother. I love it, man. Well, let's wrap things up. I know, Hep, you've got to push off and get to your meeting, and Azircon, I'm sure the kids are starting to stir, and it might be time
or something, huh?
Well, Azircon, we appreciate you spending your morning with us, man. It's always good to catch up, and we'll have to do it again sometime. Hopefully, we didn't serve up a bunch of softballs like we did last time. I think we started to dial it up for you a little bit.
Yeah, let's see how that goes. We'll see how the response is. So, once you publish it.
Great. Well, I'll always enjoy your insights, man, and I know you're a big fan of the long form conversation. So thank you for always making time for tossing on one of our episodes, and whether it's on your commute or while you're flying around the world doing oil and gas stuff. And always appreciate the support, man.
Yeah, welcome. I enjoy coming here and talking to you guys, and it's a real pleasure.
Pleasure's ours.
Wonderful.
Great.
Well, for all the listeners out there, like I said at the beginning of the episode, travel safely this week. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your loved ones. And for those of you that don't celebrate Thanksgiving, enjoy.
It's good. It's a good one.
Yeah, give it a shot. Try the turkey. I'm sure there will be plenty of action happening in MavChat to keep things lively the next few days while everybody's got some time off. All right. Well, for everybody out there listening, thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the episode and the conversation, and you have been listening to
The People's Guild.